do a full introduction. How about that? For YouTube purposes. 3. Hello there and welcome. What you're watching right now is the Insane Clan. That's two Co-1 legends and tournament Goliaths. DevM as his favoured United States Forces faction. And of course his brother and compatriot Aimstrong, or in this case Insane Elite Video Game Master, as he would probably say, as the Tommies. These guys are, I would count them as real life friends through my hobby. I've met them on a few occasions, and we get on very well. And Aimstrong in particular seems to come to me for advice when he plays Co 2, because let's face it, he isn't a Co 2 player. So he'll ask me about the meta, what he should be doing, what factions he should go, what doctrines he should use. So when I saw in Steam that he was saying, we're about to start, I've got your advice on a notepad, and he's not actually joking. Like, we were talking the other day, and I was like, well, maybe you should try this doctrine. I can see this one's banned. This one's really good meta. But I really think you should allow DevM to go for this. And if you could play, you know, in this way, it would allow DevM to possibly push up and do that. And I just said a few things that were common sense. I'm not a great player, but I've got a decent mind because I've cast shitloads of high-level play, primarily in Co 2. So he comes to me for a little bit of advice. And that's a big ego stroke for me. That's really like a pleasurable feeling, because this guy is really good at this game, but he just doesn't know Co 2 very well, as much as he did Co 1. Anyway, let's talk about the game itself, and I'll just cast as literally as unbiased as I can and just provide entertainment for you guys. I am good at just switching off and disregarding friendships and such. Anyway, so we've got DevM as the United States. He's obviously going for 3 rifles. This is DevM doing what is best. The opponents as Nozlu, who's gone for the Wehrmacht, and Lukbar, who's gone for OKW. This is the Mixed Factions 2v2 tournament, created by Kurahi and GB Hooligan. I can see Kurahi's in chat. Big up yourself, my friend. Got an engagement here. I believe the Riflemen usually win against Folks Grenadiers in a 1v1. But elsewhere, we've had a push away with the Stern Pioneers pushing this Rifleman away. This Tommy's going to have to reposition, get behind that cover, and try and protect his comrades. I think they're probably going to relinquish this and go towards the house, because they have this fuel, of course. And that's always the yin-yang effect that you get on Rails and Metal. You always get this kind of shape emerging where the Allies, well, the South team will take this house. It's pretty tepid stuff. It's always the same. It's always what the players do on this map that makes it interesting, and it's a very fair map in general, so always makes for good games. You'll notice that Aimstrong, of course, being a Co-1 master, is going for a sniper in the early game. Nozlu and Lukbar have both gone forward infantry standard strat. 4 Folks Grenadiers and 3 Grenadiers with an MG42, so heavy tier 1s here. They're just trying to nullify, you could say, possibly the superior micro of the Insane Clan. They are, as I say, they've both won majors in 1v1 tournaments, like £1,000 tournaments, each of them, which is impressive. And you can now see that DevM, on his favoured USF, is starting to be a little bit powerful here. He's pushed out with the rifles, doing a good job, going down the tracks, and looking for his next victim. Elsewhere, Nozlu is going to have to reposition with that MG42 and the ill health Grenadier. He's going to have to get here and probably face south, because there's a big flank coming in, and they're going to have to link up. They're going to be cut off temporarily. This is, as we just heard in chat from Alternative World, classic DevM cut-off play. And that's exactly what it is. These guys play as though it's a 1v1, and you've got to say it's worked for them so far. You can see Nozlu's going to react to this extremely powerful infantry play with 2 MGs. Not a bad idea at all. Lukbar, in the meantime, is going for his first truck. Probably going to go for mechanized, but with not having a fuel connected right now, that first Luke's is going to be delayed. Elsewhere, we've got not a very often seen engagement here in these sheds. Very rarely do we see the engagements get this far back. It is best of 3 today, I believe, the Magic Show. Sniper hasn't opened up yet, hasn't found a target. This second built MG has been able to push these units off, but the fuel has already been capped. We've got a sandbag position being built, so they're going to be able to protect that for now. Had a mine laid here, modified M6 mine, so he's protecting the flanks in the late game. Very good strategy, because they are worried about the Luke. So having mines up is going to help when it hits. Because I believe that DevM and Aimstrong, after a strong start, I'm free to talk about tactics. I mean, the overall idea for these guys is to dominate in the early game and rush to a tier 3 tank. Don't mess around in tier 2. They're going to be looking to try and get Stuarts. They're going to be looking to try and get Cromwells out as soon as possible. I think that should not be a surprise to anybody that's followed Grand Championship Series and how these guys played. Must be said though, DevM and Aimstrong as a 2v2 team have always been a little bit lackluster. I mean, we pitted them against the best 2v2 team in the game in Golpath 2 in Corahie's tournament last year as a show match. And that was entertaining, but the Insane Clan didn't really seem to make a good job of it. Didn't really work too well. But in this game, I think they were a bit more well prepared. They know what they're in for. They've had more time to prepare, warm up, and think of strategies. So that's why they've had a stronger start in this case, in my mind. And also, it must be said, obviously, Nozler and Lukbar aren't quite on the standard of Golpath 2. 2 MGs are having to be utilised, but it still must be said that the Insane Clan have double fuel right now. And this should not be looking good. We already have, that's right, the Stuart is out from DevM. I don't think, I think the Cromwell won't be too far behind. Within about 3 or 4 minutes, we'll be getting that company command post. MG42's been hard countered. A Pack 40 is in the build. But we also have a Rakettenwerfer in the build. But whilst that's happening, the Stuart is going to wreak havoc upon their opponents. Oh god, this Volksgrenadier has been wiped. The MG's been stolen. He's retreating. They've stolen that MG42. And you've got to say, this is looking like GG within 10 minutes. This is classic, aggressive, Co-1 master kind of tactics and just ferocity. Oh, but there we just saw a rifle get wiped. So it's not all peachy right now. And obviously Axis do have good, you know, they can always make comebacks in Company Heroes 2. Or any Company Heroes game if you play your cards right and if you are able to get wipes like that one. So, you know, let's not expect the victory parade quite yet until the job is done. All quiet on the Western front for a moment. We're having to have the battle group headquarters utilised heavily right now. Both armies are repositioning straight to the battle group to get their healing, which is always a good idea. Captain was mitigated. Stern Pioneers jumped in the building. They need to put the frying pan in their pockets now because they need all the Sturmgewehrs firing. Big mass push, and they know this MG42 has been stolen. Luckily for them, it wasn't here. They could have suppressed a total of 5 squads in one go there if they'd been a little bit slower. Mine on the western side of the garrison there. That will come in useful if they dart in and out. Could see that in good use. Rakettenwerfer opens up. Where's the Pack in all this? It's the Rakettenwerfer. Pack was not in position. Stuart's going to get out of there. Let's check on the company command post situation. The Cromwell is in the build. There you go. And then, as expected, and as as suggested for Aimstrong, his best commander as Brits has always been the Vanguard Operation Regiment with that incredible air landing officer with those light gammon bombs with the short fuse times, just wrecking utter havoc. Seems that the vehicle... He's got 2 Stuarts on the field. That's right, 2 Stuarts on the field for DevM. That is a fierce amount of play. That's really, really crazy. He's going to have to be careful of the Pack 40s, of course. We now see, by the way, Wehrmacht have reclaimed their fuel finally after 4 minutes of being fuel starved. The 2 Stuarts are doing well. One has 7 kills. We have to be mindful, by the way. We now have a counter sniper on the field. The sharpshooter for the Wehrmacht is going to be hunting for this British chap over here. The Scotsman with 15 kills. The weapon crew quite dead. That is the MG42 that's just been decrewed. Great game so far. Great aggression in the early game, but can the Allies keep it up in this case? Air landing officer opening up. There's Bren guns firing. Pitter-patter of merciless aggression. Here comes the Cromwell. Possibly going to be a big sticking point in the mid. It's probably going to go straight over to the western side, make sure this MG is recrewable, and then yes, he's going to push up into the west, try and reclaim this fuel for a second time. Big shot in from Cromwell. Misses, but it was more than enough to force away the retreat. Pioneers have gone down elsewhere. Stuarts are both fully repaired. Keep an eye on this sniper. I don't know what he's doing in base. Needs to keep an eye on that Noslo. Must be said, of course, Noslo is a player of significant pedigree. He's been around for a while, but here comes the monster flank. All the tanks are in full engagement. The Pak-40 is not in position. A Faust has gone in, but it does not matter. The Pak-40's been decrewed. The Grenadiers have been pushed away. The riflemen are firing. This looks like curtains. Within 12 minutes, both of the tanks of both of the teammates of the Allies, the Insane Clan, operated in unison there, and it was an insane double flank with the medium armour and the light armour coming in from two different angles, and they left the Pak-40 marooned and now in Allied hands. It was indeed a rout, a complete rout. Really cannot see Noslu and Lukbar staying in this for much longer now. We've got barred up captains, barred up infantry in general. He's going to be getting bars as we speak. He's going over to that side of the base to double equip bars and just keep the punishment coming down. It must be said they have both munitions now, plus 11s times 2. So much control, so much dominance. Wehrmacht sniper still hasn't opened up. The Scottish sniper's on 19 kills. Here comes yet another push. They know there's only one Rakettenwerfer now. Oh no, he has built a second Pak-40, so he has to be a little bit careful. Pushing up with the counter sniper. Needs to stay in cover. He will have been seen, and in fact he's been forced away now. The Stuarts are pushing straight up into Lukbar's face. Pak-40 having to reposition. Cromwell's going to be ready to engage once more very shortly. Stuarts back away, reverse away, and allow the OKW to come onto them. A demo laid on the central victory point as well. Also got commandos now built, so heavy investments. We did just see Royal Engineer die, but it doesn't matter. He's replacing his loss of standard units with elite commandos. Here come the Stuarts once more, once into the fray. Oh, they're waiting for them. The amount of danger that's waiting for them in the mid. Double Rakettenwerfer. Well, the Rakettenwerfers open up. Force away one Stuart. Would have thought DevM might have changed his direction of approach there, but he didn't. Possibly could have come all the way around this side and changed his angle. 100 victory points remaining. 500 still in the hands of the Allies here. This Wehrmacht sniper has been utterly useless. It's a hell of a lot of investment there. It's 360 manpower, and it's not being used once. It's almost like a free squad wipe. And of course, if you can't get the counter snipe, just start plugging away. You have to think that if it's not worked, you just need to keep at it. He's actually got 2 snipers now as Nozlu. Neither of them's made a kill yet. And he thinks this is his comeback mechanic. This is how he's going to get back into things. Go for 2 snipers. Start plugging away. Commandos have just found 1 sniper though. They nearly got the kill there. God, this is not going well. Sex Knife's been pushed away. Rakettenwerfer has been decloaked. Stuarts have found him out in the open. Probably going to decrew the Rakettenwerfer and get rid of that veterancy. Lookbar's not turning it around in time. Panzergruppe Command has been destroyed also. This isn't going well. Look at that Volksgrenadier. That is one dead-ass Volksgrenadier. Elsewhere, here comes the Cromwell. 6 kills. The Stuarts have 16 and 7 respectively. The snipers only have 1 kill between them. This is GG. It's 21 victory points remaining. They're just going to stick around until the ticker tells them they're done. No, there they go. They've thrown in the towel with a comprehensive victory for Aimstrong and DevM. I did watch this looking for ways they possibly could improve their play, because obviously as a friend of theirs I would like them to see them do well in a 2v2 tournament, because they do need to think about tactics and strategies in order to do well and get that synergy that makes a 2v2 team work against the best 2v2 teams. And where they will find trouble isn't in this kind of game, where they're against people that don't have the micro that they have and don't have the ferocious tenacity that they have. Where they will struggle is in the mid to late game against crack 2v2 squads that use indirect fire and synergize with it and use what you could say is malignant strategies in such a way that could see them lacking. And then when the endurance starts to set in and the fatigue, I mean, you tend to keep your micro edge quite well, but Company Heroes is such a draining game that when you get to that 40 to 50 minute stage, that's when you can start to become into trouble as a top player. So that's where they have to really focus their efforts when they get into those late stages of the tournament, should they get there. Now, to have a look at Farhu's father, see what he's doing. Yep, he's still sitting there drinking whiskey. But just to check the brackets out, thank you for uploading them to the thing there, Hooligan. That's very good. I mean, we'll have to see who they'll be up against after this. They're going to be up against Von Asten and Crossfire, more than likely, in that round 3. And that's going to be really difficult in my mind, because Von Asten and Crossfire are really good 2v2 players in Company Heroes 2. They're going to utilise strategies, if they get the chance to, that could cause problems. Now, if you're up against DevM and Aimstrong, though, the problem is you have to survive this early game onslaught of superior micro and ferocious aggression. Otherwise, you're going to be found lacking and it's just not going to work out for you. If you can't survive this early game onslaught, where they just literally attempt to dominate you from the get-go in the most aggressive way they can, you're going to have issues. Now, obviously, that was an 18-minute cast, and I'm sure the second game won't be too far behind. Well, no, they'll be on Axis. So, yeah, it shouldn't be too far behind, no, to be honest. As Axis, I expect DevM to be going OKW and Aimstrong to be going Wehrmacht. I'll just quickly see if that is the case. Yeah, Nagano and Scotch are the best 2v2 team. They are Gold Path 2, of course. But you have other good teams in the mix that, if I were to put my money on a team, I would obviously say Nagano and Scotch are the favourite. And indeed, they are the number 1 seed. But down here, you also have a great team in Theodosios and Thanatos, the Greek guys. They're a damn fine team, Elsewhere in the brackets, obviously, I've already mentioned Von Asten and Crossfire. But Talisman and Tourney could surprise people. Prodigally's 2v2 teams are always difficult to play against because, of course, they will utilise very difficult strategies. But I really think you need to watch out for some other packages. Silidolio and Isildur have what it takes, possibly. Tomikaze and Lyconius, another great team. Obviously, both formerly of the RTN clan. They could make a good show of things. Can't see Puppet Master anywhere in the brackets for the person just asking. But, yeah, oh no, there they are. Puppet Master and Troid. I found them. They've been given quite a high rank, which is good for the guy from the Angry Bears clan. Von Ivan and Captain S. Price is a very twisted team to come up against. I think you're going to really struggle coming up against them. And they're very similar to Prodigy's team. They just have that kind of that edge against people. I'll post the, obviously, if just for people's sakes, in the brackets there. There you go. So let's have a little look and see where the next game's at. Indeed, they have. So I'm not going to talk about tactics and strategy until we get into the game and I can be absolutely sure that it's on. But I did think to Aimstrong. This is the one I advised him on most. But because their opponents don't seem to be up to the chase, I don't expect him to use their strategy I suggested. And he doesn't have to use the strategies I suggest at all, to be honest. I'm just giving him ideas based on what I know from watching, a lot of 2v2 recently. I've been casting more 2v2 recently because I've not enjoyed the 1v1 meta. I think 2v2 can sometimes be seen as more about micro than about an individual strategy, because in 1v1 a build order can just be so dominant, If you want to see more of Farhu's dad, we can watch more of that now. Here we go. That's right, Farhu's intermission is his dad, with a fireplace sound on the Samsung. That is trippy entertainment. Yeah, it's awesome, definitely. No, but in all honesty, guys, I've got to study, to be honest. I would love to cast this. No, go on, I'll cast it. Fuck it. It's only going to be 18 minutes anyway. I really should be studying though. I feel quite guilty now. I love Company Heroes so much though. I get trapped by it and find myself, just getting sucked in basically. Hello there, YouTube users that have just been time-stamped to Game 2. That's right, we're watching DevM and Aimstrong in Game 2. We all saw what happened in Game 1, and it was pretty much a masterclass in ferocious aggression in the early game. As we see, indeed, of course, Aimstrong going straight for the infantry company. We've got DevM pushing out with the Stern Pioneers. Lookbar this time with his opponent in this mixed faction 2v2 tournament. They're going for Soviets, and Nozlu is going for the United States forces. So a slight change from that previous game. And to be honest, I really don't know what there is to talk about at this stage in the game. It's mostly focused on Stern Pioneers in my mind. I doubt that the Wehrmacht will go straight for this house. They're not going to want to contest it, in my personal opinion. He has gone for the MG, which is pleasing. So I think that's a good idea to go for the MG to keep things on lockdown. Because Aimstrong's had a tendency to want to Gren spam a lot recently. But I think in 2v2, especially on narrow maps such as this one, you really can't fault an MG for being a great tool. And if he's up against riflemen in the south side of things, he's definitely going to want to keep them suppressed, probably. So interestingly, the Grenadier is having a little scope to see what's on this side of things. Just having a little look, trying to investigate. Sees the rear echelon. Probably going to seek cover now. No, he's going to carry on pushing. He knows he's up against the United States, so got no MGs to worry about. However, he has his MG, and that's giving his opponent something to worry about. Is he going to suppress? He's gotten the house. Great move by Aimstrong, and possibly poor play by Nozlu overall. However, the riflemen are going to double team now and march up onto this one window and put heavy pressure down. Here comes the Pioneer. Is he going to tag team in and out of this building? DevM's going to help to push. This has been a classic push onto this house. They tag teamed out with the Grenadier. He's going to even keep the Grenadier into things now. Going to get him behind cover and cap this point. First Grenadier's coming down into scope. MG offering the penal battalions a massive problem if they want to try and flank. Here comes the MP40. Surprise, bitch! Submachine guns up the wazoo from the close quarter combat. One man, First Grenadier has to retreat away. Here comes the third rifleman. Will this be the saviour of the Allies? Because they're really not doing too well. We've got the Stern Pioneer, by the way, keeping this fuel up north. He's taken the Pioneer into the capping circle. I'm surprised the MG's not repositioning. He has indeed gone for a second MG. That's right, second MG is in the build. This is the exact textbook manoeuvre that was on the manager's playbook before this game started. Very pleasing to see. And the idea behind MGs for Aimstrong in this case, double MG, is he is notorious for not using the MGs as a defensive measure, more so an aggressive pinning unit. Stern Pioneers are a one-man army. They're keeping the penal battalions at bay, but this is pre-patch penals, and they are still a very ferocious beast indeed. A two-man Stern Pioneer can't hope to compete against them. Truck is going to be going up most likely into mechanized around this sector here. So Aimstrong's completely captured his objectives. Here come the First Grenadiers now to bully away this penal and stop it capping. What a push. What a textbook aggressive maneuver from Aimstrong and DevM. The insane clan. Possibly insane in the membrane in this particular case. And Noslim and Lookbar have got to be thinking, where is my look? Where is my look in this game? Because they just lost out so heavily here. But it's got to be seen as tactics. This MG was set up here. It stopped the flanking penal battalions. And we saw the hot swap. The rifleman was left in the dust. Aimstrong now pivoting to get the sniper. To keep this manpower attrition up. They were able to push away these units. The two-man Stern Pioneer now able to cap. And this has been a tour de force. I mean, it can't only be seen as micro. I mean, micro is a big part of it, the mechanical skill behind the plays. But you've got to remember, these guys don't actually play that much Company of Heroes. In my mind, what sets this kind of play apart is the early game fearless aggression. Sure, you have to have the mechanical skill to back it up. But these guys have always... Got a rifleman wiped, by the way. Quite know where that was. But the rifleman was wiped. The thing that sets these guys apart, I'm not trying to say they're the best players, because I do not expect this team to win this tournament. But they will be fearlessly aggressive in the early game because of that school of thought from the Company of Heroes 1 days, where you want to win as soon as possible. And DevM and Aimstrong both did that in those old-fashioned SNF tournaments. They built themselves up to do that over years of play, where they literally practiced for hours on end trying to win as soon as possible, throwing everything they had in those first 5 minutes. And that still tides them over to this day, and that's why they're able to cash grab in tournaments. Much to a lot of community chagrin, they're able to just throw themselves at tournaments in an aggressive, do or die, cutthroat fashion, and it often leads to the spectacular happening. And that's what I would argue that this is. It is spectacular to see these aggressive pushes, but then again, Lookbar and Oslo are no slouches, and they're now pushing themselves back into the game. Finally gotten their fuel. Well, not their fuel. This isn't usually the Allies' fuel to the west. It's usually this one. This S-mine field was a little bit functional, but they were able to cap the fuel once more. MG has opened up against this rifle. Going to suppress on the next burst. Do we have grenades? No, we do not. It is all about trying to push up against this narrow face of the door. No, they're going to move away from the cone of fire. The MG has been forced away. That's a big win for Noslu. However, unfortunately for him on the west, here is the Panzer II Lukes. DevM has gone out in under 6.5 minutes. That is absolutely fantastic rushing of the Panzer II, of course, helped by having great fuel control in the early game. And are there any counters out? No, there are not. And yet again, God, penal battalions possibly going to wipe a Focus Grenadier here. However, the Wehrmacht sniper comes to the rescue. And here comes the Panzer II Lukes. It's going to pursue. It's going to chase. And with furious vengeance and fierce anger, it's possibly going to wipe this penal battalion. And a few comments in chat. Is your Sinsai, are Aimstrong and DevM the best in Co 2? Not as such. They've been good at Co 2. They've both won £1,000 tournaments, each of them in this game. But in all honesty, they're not Co 2 players. They're coming in here as one players, masquerading as Co 2 players. Vaza says Axis OP, but Vaza mustn't have seen the first game where, unfortunately for Noslu and Lukbar, that ended in 12 minutes. And this game doesn't seem too far behind. Just seem to be a tour de force, and it completes like almost a study in aggressive action, and that's how I'd like to treat this. What will eventually be a YouTube upload is it is just about trying to study what makes hyper aggression in the early game successful. You can't do it just willy-nilly. You have to have a plan of action, and then you have to act out that plan of action very well. Just absolutely execute it and execute your opponents. We have a Rakettenwerfer out for DevM. It's clearly fearing some kind of counter, but in all honesty, back in base, we don't actually have... Well, we do have the Tankovi Battalion command up. But he doesn't quite have the fuel yet, if you notice, in the bottom left of your screen. Panzer II Lukes causing all kinds of problems. Penal Battalion's got to get around the other side of that house, but no, he's got a torrid retreat path. That's a really low health Penal there. This could be a squad wipe. We have had a squad wipe for DevM, by the way. He has lost something off camera. Oh, but that was a big loss. Here comes the Stuart for Nosler. He's got the fuel. That's why we've had the Rakettenwerfer built. Good game sense by DevM. We just had the... Was that the sniper down? It was indeed. The sniper's just died to the Stuart with its first kill. That is poor by Aimstrong. There you see him. There's his scoped G43 rifle. Nice foray. Could this be the comeback the Allied need to get back into this? I mean, you'd say no based on Nosler's army. He's not got much of it. Lukbar has got 3 penal battalions. So, to be honest, they're not doing too badly. Faust has gone in. The Lukes has found the rear armour of the Stuart. Got the Rakettenwerfer in the building. It just needs to face south. And this could be a squad wipe. Another Faust is coming in. Will it get the rocket off? Faust goes in. Lukes is about to finish off the Stuart. Grenadier. There you go. Finishes off the Stuart. So that's a big loss. So although he may have lost the sniper in a little bit of rusty kind of bad play there, where he left him open to the Stuart, more than made up for it now has DevM. And, of course, Aimstrong helping out with that Faust. Telemine set up by Aimstrong. So, again, preparing for the aggressive push to fail. So, they're not just going all out in a limb with a crazy Conor McGregor-esque, left straight and leaving their chins exposed. They are tucking in a little bit there. To use combat sports analysis to describe an RTS game. Big sign of failure for Insane Clan. They have lost 2 victory points in this game. They won't be happy with that. Another sign of arrogance and pride. They do try and get those 500 victory point wins wherever they can. And it is arrogance, and they are arrogant. They're competitive men, very competitive gamers. And they will try and do the pride, kind of exuberant showing off thing wherever possible. Penal Battalion about to die to the Stern Pioneer. Not putting away the frying pan. The second time we've seen that in 2 games. It was the other players that did it in the first game. But the Luke's does not give a fuck. It's much like a honey badger. M1 AT gun's been stolen by Aimstrong. Second time an AT gun has been stolen in as many games. And again, it looks like curtains. LMG 42 putting excellent pressure down. Not had to see a commander choice from either of the Axis players yet. Do have Spearhead in the Reckoning if he needed it. Of course, Lightning War is banned in this tournament, so Aimstrong can't rely on his most often used commander in Company of Heroes. Look at this early game Panzer IV. There's nothing that the Axis can't handle right now. Do have an Su-76 out. Seems like it's just barrage this Grenadier away. DevM with the 2 Lukes. He's got 5 kills on 120 on the other. This one is the one that's squad wiped 2 different units right now. Boris has arrived, has asked in chat why is Lightning War banned. It's Hooligan's way of running tournaments. He doesn't like the very most popular commanders to be utilised, which is an interesting thing, and I think it makes for interesting games and tactical variety. Main gun destroyed on Su-76. The Panzer IV is marauding. Gets the killing blow there. Gets a rear armour shot from the second built M1, but it does not matter. There you go. Is that towel thrown in? Yes, it is a tour de force, a veritable tour de force going in. And thank you for watching, everybody. Little, very quick 25-minute cast from me of the 2 round 1 games for DevM and Aimstrong. The next games they'll be playing in today. Let me refresh these brackets just in case we've had any updates. We do have Paul and Rowdy Ace through to round 3 there already. Prodigali against Talisman is going to be a good match. Aimstrong and DevM, of course, now through against probably Von Iveren and Crossfire. So thank you for watching, everybody. It was a bit of an exercise in watching just how aggressive you can be in this game and make it work. And I will now host Fahu. And a pleasure, Cassandra, anytime.
Vet 5 functioned in the middle. Retreat, man. Vet 5. No. It should be there. Oh, sadly. Vet 5 getting it.